First up, we have Mikko Koskinen. So first up is Derek Van Diest. Derek, go ahead as soon as your microphone is unmuted.
Hi, Mikko. I just wanted to ask you how you spent the pause and how much work you were able to get in during the pause before coming back here.
I went back to home, Finland, when this all started, and
I got nothing.
Sound kicked off there.
Yeah.
sorry, no worries.
Derek, if you could ask that question again.
Sure. Yeah. Mikko, just want to ask you, where you were during the pause and how much work you got in during, the pause before coming back here.
Yeah, so I went back to Finland right after when it all started happening here, and first I was taking a little bit of rest, and after that I was preparing like I usually do, like off-ice workouts and stuff like that. And beginning of June we got started on the ice like 2-3 times a week.
Next question will be for Jim Matheson. Jim, go ahead. A reminder to use raise hand to ask your questions. Go ahead, Jim.
Couple of questions, Mikko. How difficult is it for a goaltender to be off all this time? A normal player, a skater can skate, but a goalie needs some practice stopping shots. And did you get any of that back in Finland?
Yeah, of course, it's tough, but it's tough for everyone. I was skating maybe 15 times before I came over here, so it's not that much what I usually do, of course, but it's like I said, it's same for everyone, and you just have to get used to it.
Next question, Tony Brar. Tony, go ahead.
Hey, Mikko, hope you're well. Obviously, very unique circumstances heading into the Stanley Cup qualifiers, which begins in 2 weeks. How have you approached this camp with a certain mindset in knowing that you have to compete for a starter's role with Mike Smith, and how has that been going for you so far?
Like you said, this totally different situation. Never has been this so far, but I haven't really thought about that. It's so much things going on here, and you just try to do your best and enjoy. And sometimes it's hard, but you just have to do it.
Next question, Derek Van Diest. Derek, go ahead as soon as your microphone is active.
Yeah, Mikko, just wanted to ask you, how did they handle things in Finland with COVID? Did they lock everything down like they did most other places? I know in Sweden, they kind of didn't lock much things down. How was it handled in Finland?
Yeah, beginning they locked everything down, so everything was locked, and but it went really well. Like people were listening to what the government was telling them, and beginning of June, everything was back to normal. Like, we were living like a normal life. There was like maybe 5-4 cases per day, and some days even nothing. So it's been handled really well there, and right now people are living like a normal life. So it's happy for that situation.
Next question, Tony Brar. Go ahead, Tony.
Mikko, this is your second season with the Edmonton Oilers. You said it last year. You weren't too happy with your play at the end of last season. How important was getting off to a good start? You started off the season with 5 straight wins personally. How important was getting off to a good start for the rest of the season, and how would you categorize the season for you?
Of course, it's every year it's a good, like you have to get a good start. That helps so many things. When you get a couple of wins in your belt, it's so much easier to go on. And like like the whole team, we got like a good start, and the season is still on, so it's tough to say how it's. So far, we're okay. We are in the playoffs, and we have a chance to win the Stanley Cup. So far, we are okay.
And another question from Jim Matheson. Jim, as soon as your microphone's active, you can go ahead.
Mikko, you were playing very well at the end of the season, and then the NHL stopped. Will it be difficult for you to get back up and play like you did at the end of the season? And the other thing is, who did you stop shots with back in Finland? Were there a few NHL players you could stop some shots with?
Like what happened 4 months ago, it doesn't matter anymore. You know, it's like a new season right now. It's, you know, it's gonna be tough, but it's gonna be tough for everyone. And I had like 3-4 players there playing like all over the Europe. A couple guys in KHL and Swedish Hockey League, and good players, national team players. What I practice with.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Mikko. We'll be back with another player shortly.
Thank you.
Joakim Nygard with us. Reminder to ask your questions. I'd ask you to use the raise hand function, and then we'll get started. So we have a first question from Jim Matheson. Jim, as soon as your microphone's active, you can go ahead. Go ahead.
Joakim, I just want to ask you about your hand and how it is.
It's pretty good. Had a long period of rehab and couldn't do anything for a couple of weeks there, but now the hand feels good again, brand new, so feels good.
Next question to Derek Van Diest. Derek, as soon as your microphone is active, you can ask your question. Go ahead.
Yeah, hey Joakim, how you doing? I just wanted to ask you about the pause and where you spent the pause and how things were where you were, and did you get a chance to kind of do any skating when you were on the break?
Yeah, I was back home in Costa and had some weeks off, and then try to rehab up my hand again. Then I went on ice for a couple of weeks and with a bunch of NHL guys, and actually we were a group of like 15, 16 people, so it was good to get some ice. I missed a couple of weeks there, so that was important for me to practice on ice too.
Next question, Tony Brar. Tony, as soon as your microphone's active, you can get started. Go ahead.
Joakim, hope you're well. It's been about nearly 6 months since you've last played in an NHL game. How have you approached this camp, and what are your main objectives for you personally coming into this week?
Yeah, I mean, as you said, I haven't played for a long time, and I think this scrimmages we do is important for me to get my legs going and I mean, play some game situations and get used to that again. But I feel it feels pretty good. Of course, the pace have a lot of pace to get up to, but it feels pretty good, and just want to work hard and get into the game as soon as possible. So just have to work hard and do my best.
Next question, Jim Matheson. Jim, go ahead as soon as your microphone's ready. Go ahead.
Joakim, can you tell us exactly how you broke your hand? I know you blocked a shot, but at the time, did you think, oh, that's worse than normally when you block a shot?
Yeah, I don't know if I don't know exactly how I did it, but I get the puck like between the fingers, and yeah, the bone just went in a couple of pieces. So it was pretty bad, but shit happens, and had actually like 3 big injuries this season. So I look forward to come back here and hopefully avoid injuries this time.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Joakim, and we'll be back shortly with another player. Thank you. Mike Smith here. If you have a question, use the raise hand function. We have a couple questions already. Derek Van Diest, go ahead as soon as your microphone's activated. Try that again. Derek, go ahead.
Hey, Mike, how you doing? I just wanted to ask you about the pace of practices from Monday to now. It looks like it's constantly picking up, and guys are really not necessarily finding their skating legs, but finding their touch and they feel with the puck. It looks like their passes are a bit more crisp and the shots are a bit more accurate. How are you seeing it as a goaltender from Monday until now?
To be honest, I thought right from the get-go this team's been real sharp, and we've had 4 or 5 good skates now, and I think as we go through camp here, I think we'll just continue to get more comfortable, and the pace will keep continuing to pick up. But to be honest, I think it's been a solid 4 or 5 days here of skating and getting our legs back under us, and hopefully that continues.
Next question, Quinn Phillips. Quinn, go ahead.
Hi, Mike. I'm just wondering how you make the bubble as comfortable as possible. Is there anything specific that you're bringing that will be important to have in there?
I have no idea. I mean, I have no idea what to expect, to be honest. I'm kind of just going with the flow. There's obviously, it's going to be a big change for everybody involved. So I think obviously a few pairs of underwear. I don't know if there's any laundry there or nothing, but expecting to be there for quite some time. So obviously clothes, laundry is important. So we'll start with that.
Next question, Daniel Nugent-Bowman. Go ahead, Daniel.
Hi, Mike. You've had a lot of battles with Patrick Kane over the years as a Western Conference player. I'm just curious how what you think of those battles over the years, and what's the key to stopping a guy like that?
Yeah, be as big as possible. I think with a player like Patty, I mean, he's obviously a world-class player that's, he plays a style of game like no other out there. So I think he can hurt you with the way he can pass the puck, and I think he's just as dangerous with the way he can shoot it too. So I think obviously you have to be aware when a player like that's on the ice, and obviously played a lot of hockey against Chicago in the past, and unfortunate won't be in the United Center. It's always a fun rink to go play into, and especially in playoffs. But we'll make the most of it here in Edmonton, and I'm sure it'll be a good battle.
Next question, Jim Matheson. Jim, as soon as your microphone's active, you can ask your question. Go ahead.
Mike, the forwards and the defensemen can skate and skate and skate before this camp. How does a goalie get ready for this? Do you have a lot of people shooting at you before you got here, or is it you have to work your way into this camp as a goaltender?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just taking shots, repetition. I think we've been on every day, 15, 20 minutes early just to kind of do some goalie stuff, some movement stuff, and kind of get your feet back under here and start feeling good. But I think for the most part, I'm feeling, confident where my game's at. It's just about kind of ramping it up going into the first game, and being as prepared mentally as you can for this, a lot of unknowns, a lot of, different situations that everyone's going to be going through. So I think just trying to stay as even keel as possible here, and be ready to go if your number's called.
Next question, Tony Brar. Go ahead, Tony, as soon as your microphone's active. Let's try that again. Go ahead, Tony.
Hey, Mike, since the calendar flipped to 2020, you've really felt the resurgence in your play. You've started the teams 19 of the last 29 games for the team. Explain what confidence does for you personally, what that looks like in the crease, and how it's maybe deferred since the early half of the season.
I mean, any player will tell you confidence is everything. I think obviously it was a good start to the season this past year. Kind of had a little rough spell there in December, I guess, and then decided that mentally just try and flip it around and worry about stuff I can control, and got on a little bit of a run, and the team got rolling pretty good, and obviously when you're working hard in practice and trying to get, back in the net, and there's a good battle going on between me and Mikko, that's obviously a big strength of this team. I think both guys have played real solid for this group all season long, and I was able to get on a little bit of a run at the end of the season. You want to be playing your best hockey going into the playoffs, and I felt like I was doing that, and I want to come out of this break doing the same thing.
Next question, Vicky Hall. Vicky, as soon as your microphone is active, you can ask your question.
Hi, Mike. You're an emotional player. What do you think it's going to be like playing a playoff game with no fans and none of that buzz in the building?
It's going to be really, really strange. I think it's going to be a lot different. The only thing we got going for us is it's the same thing for every team. So, obviously you're used to playing in front of, especially playing in Canada, you're used to playing in front of sold out rinks every game. So it's definitely going to be a lot different when there's no crowd noise, whether they're booing or cheering for you. It's always nice to hear people in the stands and to hear how excited they are to to cheer for their team. And obviously going to be a big adjustment not having that energy, and you're gonna have to create our own energy as a group here.
Okay, we'll take 2 more questions. Jim Matheson, go ahead as soon as your microphone's going. Go ahead.
Mike, you and Mikko pretty much, played the same number of games in regular season, but are you in a competition now to see who's the starting goaltender to kick off the qualification round? Is that how you're looking at this, or do you just play it by ear and see what the coach decides?
I don't know if I play it by ear. I think both guys want to play. I think I'm preparing like I'm going to start, game 1, and I think Mikko's doing the same thing. So I think we've had that mentality all season long, and I think it's made for a great, friendly, competitive battle in the net. And I think it's a big reason why this team's had success this year, with both guys being able to play and contribute, to the team's winning, and having success, all season long. I don't think there's been a long stretch where neither guy has hasn't played well, and when one guy's not playing well, it seems like the other guy picked him up. So I think it's been a great kind of new friendship for me, a new goalie partner this year with Mikko, but he's been an awesome guy to play with, to compete with, and we've definitely 2 different personalities, but I think ones that mix well together. And whether it's him or me, I think both guys are cheering for each other, and we just want to do whatever we can to try and help this team win.
And 1 more question from Tony Brar. Tony, as soon as your microphone's active, you can ask your question.
Just to piggyback on your answer there, Mike, what exactly does that relationship look like when you are competing? Are you guys always talking to each other as soon as you guys are off the ice? Are you guys communicating after practices? What exactly does that entail?
I think you guys know Mikko as well as I do. I think Mikko's a man of few words, so there's not a lot of communication, but obviously he's just a really down-to-earth guy, and he's been a pleasure to work with this season. And like I said, obviously both guys want to play and help this team win. And when our number's called, you just want to be ready to go. So I think both guys have worked extremely hard to prepare and to be ready. And I think both guys will be. And whatever happens after that, I think whether it's him or I, we're both cheering for each other. And, we just want to get to the top and raise Lord Stanley.
Thank you very much, Mike, and thanks to the members of the media. We'll be back shortly with the head coach. with head coach Dave Tippett. If you have a question, we use the raise hand function. First question from Tony Brar. Tony, go ahead. As soon as your microphone is unmuted. Go ahead, Tony.
Hey, Dave, of course, a lot of big decisions ahead for you with the Stanley Cup qualifiers in just 2 weeks' time. But is the biggest decision in your mind right now the one between the pipes, knowing that you have two viable options?
Well, that's certainly a decision that is, you're picking from two guys. Forwards, you got 15 guys. D, you got 10 guys, or so you got two guys. But we have a great deal of confidence in both guys. As camp goes on here, we'll continue to kind of monitor where they're each at. They both look really good so far. But as we go on, we'll continue to monitor things. Talk to Schwartzy, talk to the players, and we'll see where it goes. But I envision both guys getting an opportunity to play.
Next question, Terry Jones. Terry, as soon as your microphone is active, you can go ahead. Terry, you'll need to activate your microphone to ask your question. Go ahead, Terry.
Okay. Coach, you're about the halfway mark of this training camp. Can you compare it to a normal training camp, or does it feel a little bit more like an Olympic break or an all-star break, extended week off camp or something like that? And are there any observations and statements you can make about the way this team is approaching it and going forward?
Well, it does feel a little bit different than a regular training camp. Regular training camp, it just seems like, you usually got between 50 and 60 players. You're trying to teach new stuff. Basically, what we're looking at is review of a lot of our structure, how we play. That's part of it. You got to get players up and going full speed again, and then you're preparing for a playoff series against an opponent. So it's there's a little different focus than a normal training camp. That being said, the thing that's similar about a training camp is you're trying to get everybody up and running as quick as you can. Just a comment about our group. Our group has come in. They look like a real motivated group. I like what our leadership has done in the room. We seem to be very focused on making sure that we're preparing the right way. So halfway point of the camp, I would say so far so good. We've still got some things that we want to cover, some things that we want to, I think there's still some added conditioning that we can get into, but we've been pleased so far, but only halfway there.
Next question, Daniel Nugent-Bowman. Go ahead, Daniel.
Hi, Dave. When you coached the Coyotes, you had some pretty epic battles with Chicago, and specifically, obviously, going back to the 2012 and that playoff series. I know that was a while back now, but is there anything you can kind of glean from that, and specifically how to kind of approach Patrick Kane and kind of shut him down?
Well, you always got to look at the other team, and I would say less from the playoff series, or when I coached there a long time ago, more to you're looking what that team is doing this year, so it's more recent history, and you got their top players that, just like any team you'd prepare for, you're talking about their strengths, their weaknesses, what they're looking at. So just the history and experience throughout the season, or for a few years now with Chicago, you use some of those things, but ultimately right now we're really trying to concentrate on what we're doing, and as we wind down here, we'll start to dig into more of Chicago. But you always have those things in the back of your mind where you're the history, that's knowledge. You learn about things, you learn what worked and what didn't work, so you always go back and think about some of those things.
Next question, Reed Wilkins. Reed, as soon as your microphone's active, you can ask your question. Go ahead.
Hi, Dave. I know you've been asked about Broberg earlier in the week as well, but he's made some, I think, several head-turning plays today. during the scrimmage. Appears to be pretty confident, and in my mind, you wouldn't know, how young he is if you see how he's performing. Like, is that fair? Just a confident, very polished player so far this week?
Yeah, he's looked very good. He hasn't looked out of place at all. And physically he's young in age, but physically he's mature. He's a thick guy. He's a strong player. His skating is excellent. So you watch him in these scrimmage. He certainly hasn't. You can't walk away from a scrimmage saying that he doesn't fit. If anything, you walk away from the scrimmage going, he does fit. So it's great to see a young player come in, really his first opportunity to be around NHL players, and he's acquitting himself very well. So really good young man. He's like a sponge. He's trying to learn every day, and it's great to see him go out there and play well and fit in with our group.
Next question, Jim Matheson. Jim, as soon as your microphone's active, you can ask your question. Try that again. We'll wait one more second. If not, okay, let's try, we'll try Vicky Hall. Vicky, go ahead as soon as your microphone's active. Jim, okay, Jim's there now. Go ahead, Jim.
Dave, a couple of things. You say you're more concerned about your own team, but are you paying any attention to the fact that Chicago does not have their starting goaltender right now and hasn't had him for camp? You can't lie and say you're not paying attention to that. And the other question I have for you is, Broberg looks like he can play both sides. He's a left shot, and we always just assumed he was a left side defenseman, but you've had him over on the right side a lot in the scrimmages. What do you think?
Well, first of all, yes, you're always monitoring what's going on in Chicago. So I know what's going on, but you never know what's going on until they get here and you get playing them. So you understand, and that's just no different than anybody else around the league. You're finding out what teams are doing, but you're right. I would be lying if I told you I didn't kind of follow what Chicago's doing. So you're right, Jim. I'm not lying. The second part of it, Broberg, he's looked comfortable on both sides. I know he played quite a bit on the right last year over in Sweden, so he has looked comfortable on both sides, which is that's a real good asset for a young player. He looks to me like a player right now that you could put him on left D, right wing, left wing, center, probably not goalie, and he'd be more than willing to try anything. So he's a young player that's trying to come in and make an impression, and he's certainly doing that.
Next question for Vicky Hall. Vicky, as soon as your microphone's active, you can ask your question.
Hi, Dave. How refreshing is it to be answering questions about goalies and rookies and scrimmages as opposed to just COVID and all the stuff we've been dealing with for months?
It's very refreshing. It's very refreshing to get back to hockey, and talking to players and talking to players about structure of the game or plays that get made or special teams, or those things are at the forefront right now. And I think as every day goes by, you get used to the new protocols, you get used to the kind of the new way of life here, which everybody gets more and more comfortable with that you're just dealing with the circumstances, but ultimately your focus goes on to playing and getting ready for that game one. So it's been very good. Like I say, our players' attitudes have been excellent. Our coaching staff just getting back together. I mean, everything that is involved with a team and an organization getting ready. Those are the things that when you've been in the game a long time, those are the things you really miss. So that camaraderie and getting back together and getting focused together is that's an enjoyment for everybody coming back.
Next question, Terry Jones. Terry, as soon as your microphone's active, you can ask your question. Go ahead.
Yeah, Tip, with the situation you're dealing with, that's one word, opportunity. I get the sense there's real opportunity here for your group. Do you feel they have that sense, and are they trying to sell it to each other and that sort of thing?
You know what, Terry? I think everybody is talking about First of all, it was the opportunity to come back and restart the season. But now, once you look at it, you're down to 24 teams. Every team has an opportunity, and it's a unique opportunity. It's not as if, you know, you got teams that are, you feel they have just distanced themselves from everybody. You've got teams with home ice advantage. It's the opportunity is a lot more equal than it would normally be going into a playoff. So I think a lot of teams feel that way. I know we feel that way. There's an opportunity in front of us. Can we seize that opportunity and run with it? And I'm sure there's a lot of other teams saying that, but that's certainly one of the things that we're talking about with our group.
Two more questions we'll take here. One from Daniel Nugent-Bowman. Daniel, as soon as your microphone is active, go ahead.
Dave, you're going to be facing a coach on the other end who's going into his first playoff series as a young coach. Can you take me back maybe to 2003 and your first coaching experience in the playoffs with the Dallas Stars? What that was like? How did you prepare? Were you pretty nervous going into that for the first time?
I think once you get to the NHL and you're a coach there, you've gone through trials and tribulations all over. So there's not one coach in the NHL that I think everybody is nervous going in, whether it's your first year or your 30th year, because you're nervous that your team is prepared and you want to make sure you win. So everybody in this league is going to be prepared. Everybody's going to do a good job. So it's there's been a lot of young coaches that have done well in this league, and there's a lot of veteran coaches who do well in this league and in the playoffs. So I don't think that's an advantage or disadvantage. I remember going into my first playoff series, I was excited. I felt like our team was prepared and we were excited to play. So that's how you got to feel going in the playoffs. It's a unique time, especially, you know, just as we just talked about, the opportunity in front of us with this unique playoff format. It's going to be fun and be exciting to get up and going, and coaching right throughout of it is going to be exciting for the coaches just like the players.
And a final question from Jim Matheson. Jim, as soon as your microphone is active, you can ask your question. Go ahead.
Dave, Nygard was saying this year he's had a tough time because he's been hurt several times of getting traction, you know, with the hand, and then he was hurt earlier in the year too. Have you noticed that as a coach? You would like to have had him, you know, playing every game, but he would get hurt and then he'd have to work his way back, and then he had trouble, you know, getting a regular line.
Yeah, you know what? I've talked to him about this, and there was a couple things, Jim. One, first of all, he's coming as a first time over to North America or first time playing pro over North America, and just getting acclimated, trying to get up to speed to the league and everything. So that was a challenge. And then he had a couple injuries, and the second one was a real, you know, it's a bad injury. He's going to miss extended period of time with surgery on his hand. So he just didn't feel like he had, as you say, the traction to get going. But talked to him yesterday a little bit. His hand feels very good. He feels way more comfortable coming into the situation. It's like his second year now. So he's really comfortable coming in. He understands how we want to play, understands, you know, the day-to-day routine that comes within it, you know, is friendly with everybody. And so his concentration right now is just getting his game up and running to the best level he can. And he's looked pretty good in camp so far. Says the hand is good. It's not sore at all. He still wants to work on getting it back up to, you know, to speed where he feels comfortable with it and feels comfortable handling the puck and stuff like that. But he's you'd like to see him get an extended period of time and play well, because I think he's a good player in the NHL. Speed, tenacity, the ability to be on pucks is his strength, and we showed glimpse of it. He showed glimpse of it this year when he got up and going. But like you say, there was too many times when he had to take a step back because of injury.
Thank you very much, Dave, and thanks to members of the media. That'll be